Hello and welcome to the course, Alternative Authority Content. And in this course, we are going to be discussing how you can create content without having to literally use text on a WordPress blog or without having to really do website writing. And you may have a passion and you may already have connections inside of a niche, but you just may not necessarily find that writing is the best way for you to communicate. And so you want to be able to create the kind of content that is going to allow you to be positioned as an expert. You want to have the kind of content that is going to attract people to eventually buy your products and services. However, writing is just not the way that you'd rather communicate, but you do understand what content does. And so you will likely want to have a blog as home base, but to actually use your content, you can actually create content in other ways to build an audience. And you can do it in a way that builds your strength. And we're going to be talking about some of those things in this course. Now, in some cases, you can exercise the authority content model using audio. And we're going to be talking about some very easy ways for you to be able to do that. You can also use video, and you can do it in a way that really does work in the very same way, and in some cases even better than actual writing or blogging. You can do all audio or all video, and it can work just fine in terms of attracting people into your marketing funnel. Now, the most important factor in your authority content model is going to be your revenue. And what do we mean by that? Well, you will want to understand how the content that you're doing feeds people into getting them in position to buy. Ultimately, when you're looking at this, you want to try to figure out what you primarily offer. What is it that you primarily sell? If you offer a service, you're going to want your audio or your video, your alternative content, to direct people into your marketing funnel until they're ready to make their purchase. If you sell a product, you'll want your audio or video content to direct people to find solutions to the problems they're having or the principles that are going to help them accomplish their goals. Now, you can use some combination of shows and education. Now, by shows, we mean something like a television show. But in case you're looking at what do we mean by a show online, you might be thinking about a podcast. You might be thinking about a web-based show that you might see on YouTube. But anyway, a show or education in the form of a webinar or a subscription. And in those cases where you are actually subscribed and you get every episode of a particular person's content or publications. I mean, you can use any combination of those things in order to draw your target customers in. And once they're inside of your email marketing list or your social media network, or even in some cases they're subscribed to your content, you can then use that connection to market your primarily product or service. And what you want to do basically is to make sure that people are connected to you and that they are going to get every piece of correspondence that you're going to be sending out, regardless of how they've chosen to connect. And what we're going to be talking about in this course are the different ways in which you can do that. What are the ways that you can do that other than writing content in order to get people in position so that they can hear from you and be ready to buy? So as you start out this course, consider what is your strength, what is the way in which you create content best, and then take a look at the different options that you are going to have that we're going to be talking about, and then get started creating content and doing so as an authority. And we will be talking about and addressing that also. So with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back to Alternative Authority Content, and in this video, we are going to be talking about creating a pre-recorded audio show or podcast. Now, one way to create audio content is to create a podcast show. And when you think about a show, we're thinking about it in the very same way as you might be thinking about your favorite television show or your favorite radio program that comes on at a specific time, at a specific point during the week or during the day. Now, typically with a podcast show or an audio show of any kind, you are going to be pre-recording the audio and uploading it to some place in order to host it. Now, to increase the amount of exposure that you're going to get to your show, you want to make sure that your show appears in iTunes. This is probably one of the largest or the largest repository of audio content in the form of a podcast. Now, this is done easily with some of the more popular audio hosting repositories, and we'll talk about that here in a minute. Let's take a look at iTunes for a second. And you can see here that if we just did a simple search and looked for iTunes podcast for weight loss, right, you'll see a number of results. You'll even see here that as of December 2014, there was a listing of the 19 best health and fitness podcasts of all time. So you can see here, iTunes is a very popular place for people to be able to put their podcast, again, for them to get the exposure to their brand and to whatever it is that they have to offer. Now, when you do your podcast, what you're going to be doing, of course, is you are going to be making your audio available on a regular basis on a website or in an audio repository. Now, we've used that term a couple of times now. So what do we mean by audio repository? Well, one place that you might have even frequented or you might have even seen already is called SoundCloud. And while there are a number of musicians that use SoundCloud, it's for more than musicians. As an entrepreneur, you can use SoundCloud in order to create audio content. And all you'll have to do is to go here to create an account. And in the same way that you see this, and let's just, for the sake of argument, let's just type in weight loss. And as you can see here, there are people that are creating content specifically for their particular niche and weight loss. So you can use SoundCloud as your repository to upload your audio and to hold it so that people can either listen to it on SoundCloud or you can actually link to it from your website. Another place where you can actually listen to audio is called Stitcher. It's another place where you can actually upload your audio. As you can see here, Stitcher can be found using a simple Google search. You can then go into Stitcher, and you can actually sign up as a content provider, which is what Stitcher calls their partners. Another location for you to put your audio would be a website called Spreaker, which actually comes with a built-in advantage because not only does it come connected to iTunes, but it also comes with a connection to iHeartRadio, which is actually inside of many automobiles as well as terrestrial radio. And Spreaker can be found with a simple Google search. You can go inside, and you'll see here that Spreaker is designed for you to create your own podcast or radio show. Right? Fairly simple to use once you already have the equipment that we've talked about that you need to have to get started. And podcasting can be now a very effective way for you to get your content in front of a number of people that you might not have been able to do so just a few years ago, because now iTunes and iHeartRadio is available inside of automobiles. And you're seeing this being discussed in a number of different places online. Now, if you're looking to create your content or your podcast audio using interviews, there are a couple of easy ways in order to do that. One of the easiest ways to do that is to record the audio using Skype. There are a number of Skype recorders available, one of which probably is the most popular, called Pamela for Skype. There's also the program Evair and the program Ecamm for Mac if you're still looking to use Skype. The other way to do it is to use a website called freeconferencecall.com. And on freeconferencecall.com, all you're going to need to do is to have your interviewee call in. And then when you have your interviewee call in, freeconferencecall.com will actually produce the MP3 for you that you can use to upload to the various services that we have been talking about. So it is possible to pre-record your audio content to then upload to one of the repositories and then make that audio available to anyone, whether or not they're watching on your website or listening on your website or listening on social media. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back to Alternative Authority Content. And in this video, we're going to be talking about what you'll need to get started in order to create audio. Now, if you can create content that engages prospects and customers verbally, you may fare better than writing if you decide to use audio to do your content creation. Now, you are going to need a few basic tools in order to get started using audio. Now, you'll definitely want a computer mic and headset and or a USB cardioid microphone. Now, these items do not have to be super expensive. If you do a simple search inside of the Amazon website, you'll notice that there is a Plantronics audio, I think it's a 628. You'll see that it's a general headset. This is just fine to be able to create audio using your personal computer, whether or not you use a mic, a Mac, or you use an actual PC. Now, if you should decide to move up from getting a headset with noise cancellation, you will want to move to a cardioid microphone, and you'll notice there that the cardioid pattern really does some noise cancellation because of where the actual pattern is, where the sound is going to be coming from. So it's not going to pick up everything, and in general, it's going to leave out a lot of the background noise. And so a cardioid microphone is typically one of the great ways for you to be able to get a relatively inexpensive mic, yet keep noise canceled. And there are a number of cardioid mics available that you can actually pick up once again, that are relatively inexpensive if you don't want to spend if you want to spend a little more than you would if you spent for a headset. You can move up in the quality and you can get something that's relatively inexpensive. Now, you are going to need a way to capture audio into your computer, and typically you can do that in a couple of ways. One of the ways that you can do that is using the program Skype. If you are capturing interview content, you can use another program that's actually free on the internet, and it's called Audacity. And I'll show you what that is right now. Audacity can be picked up using a simple Google search, and you'll see it right here, Audacity SurgeForge, and just downloading the program onto your hard drive and being ready to use it will actually allow you to capture audio onto your computer. And it's fairly simple to use. All you'll need to do is just hit the record button while you're actually talking, and you'll actually see some of the sound coming on, and then when you're finished recording, you can actually hit the pause button or the stop button. Now, of course, you can buy premium software. You're actually going to be using this software when you create video too. This will actually help you with your audio. It's called Camtasia Studio if you're using a personal computer or a PC. There is also ScreenFlow if you use the Mac. Both programs are fantastic for you to be able to use to create and edit audio. And the editing process is pretty important, so yes, you will want to have something to edit. You can actually use Audacity in order to edit your audio too, which is pretty intuitive and pretty simple. You can actually take portions out that you don't want. So again, not too hard to use nor to edit, although again, the premium programs are much better in doing that. Camtasia, ScreenFlow, and even another program called Sony Vegas. Now, these programs can be a little pricey, and you can often look for them on places like Amazon or eBay, where they're going to be a lot less expensive. Now, once you have these basic tools, you will be able to create basic audio to create authority content in a niche. And if you already have your content, you have your content source, which is either your knowledge or your experience or perhaps private label rights content, all you'll need to do is to start recording your audio and make sure it's edited for whatever medium that you want to put it in. And then you will then be ready now to get started creating authority content using the audio medium. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video.